Congress is slated to meet today to debate a short-term funding bill in order to prevent an upcoming government shutdown. We're here again. The bill would allow the government to remain funded through March 11th. It comes as lawmakers have struggled for months to reach an agreement on funding for fiscal year 2022, which started back in October. If the stopgap bill is passed, it would extend negotiations in the effort to reach a larger deal on funding the government through September. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts. Congressman, we're so thrilled to see you joining us again this morning. Let's start there before we shift to foreign policy. Can you give us some of the major sticking points on getting an actual budget instead of yet another, I believe, third continuing resolution?
Everybody wants to see a full budget. We need it for stability, for a country anxious about Omicron and inflation. We want it for investment in our economic recovery. We want it for our national security. But it's critical to get it right, even more so than it is to get it fast. And House and Senate Democratic negotiators are getting closer and closer to a final deal. Unfortunately, our Republican colleagues seem to be absolutely fixated on yet another massive increase to top-line military spending, despite the fact that the Department of Defense was given hundreds of billions of dollars extra under the Trump administration. And so we've got to get to a place where we are proportionate in how we're spending our domestic funds.
So, Congressman, you released a statement on the need for Germany and all NATO allies to keep their commitments to respect sovereignty and territorial integrity. Were you satisfied with what you heard from President Biden and the German chancellor in yesterday's press conference? What more should the U.S. be doing with respect to Russia's threat to Ukraine?
America is not a fair weather friend. Under this president, what we are seeing is strong diplomatic engagement to keep a unified front. We are protecting a nascent democracy in Ukraine, and we are defending NATO, which is the critical post-war alliance designed to avert Russian aggression in Eastern Europe. And we're doing so without risking American conventional forces engaged in a land war in Ukraine. This president is handling diplomacy skillfully, including with his German counterpart. And we need our German allies to be a pillar of strength in Europe, as they were under Angela Merkel.
So what more can be done here? Putin's intentions remain, of course, unclear. Some have suggested that the end of the Olympics, still a couple weeks away, might be the moment where he decides to invade, were he to do so. Beyond, trying to shore up alliances and, some troops to neighboring countries and some tough rhetoric, what else should the administration be considering here? Should we be looking at sanctions, other economic penalties? Walk us through what you'd advise.
It's about articulating clearly the costs of an incursion into Ukraine. This president and his allies have done that well by making clear that Nord Stream 2, for example, will not happen if Russia invades Ukraine, by saying that we're going to see massive sanctions on an order of magnitude never before seen, as well as trying to provide an off-ramp for de-escalation for President Putin and saying, hey, on a number of fronts, whether it's ballistic missile or nuclear weapon development, on security arrangements in the Ukraine, we are willing to talk and listen to Russian concerns. And indeed, the United States has provided a comprehensive white paper in response to Russian written requests and keeping the dialogue going. So it's about continued engagement that makes very clear where the red lines are. Ukraine decides whether to join NATO, not Russia. That's not Russia's decision, but also provides an off-ramp for de-escalation.
So, as a last question, being a strong commander-in-chief is, of course, just one part of a presidential portfolio. We talked to a Washington Post reporter earlier today who did some reporting about Democrats in the House this year debating whether or not they really wanted President Biden to be out there campaigning with them ahead of the midterms. Now, obviously, you're in Massachusetts. It's likely a safe seat. But what advice would you give to your Democratic colleagues about who are perhaps in swing districts and tougher fights as to whether they should embrace Joe Biden on the campaign trail?
Democrats have a lot to communicate from 2021 on the campaign trail. We have made historic investments in K-12 education, sending more than $100 billion to school districts across the country to help kids get back into full in-person learning. We have made significant investments in our infrastructure as a country, $1 trillion for clean water and high-speed internet and better rail and fixing roads and bridges. And just this month, we have passed a significant bill to invest in research and development, making America the preeminent science and technology leader globally. We have significant accomplishments to communicate on the campaign trail. Do we have more work to do? Of course we do. This president inherited the worst crisis in our democracy from since the Civil War, the worst public health crisis since World War I, the most complicated economy since the end of World War II. It's going to take more than 12 months to fix that panoply of problems, but we have made significant progress in the last 12 months. And communicating those accomplishments and the work ahead of us is best done in conjunction with the commander-in-chief and with somebody who is as good as connecting empathetically with voters as President Biden is.
All right, Congressman Jake Auchincloss, we're glad you were here with us today and hope you will come back again soon. Thank you, sir.
Always.
Earlier in the show, we asked this